Hi guys, didn't see you there. I was just counting all the money that I saved by using these quotes that I'm going to tell you today. These are the money quotes that you will actually find behind a truck on Tumblr or any of these life guide stickers and all that. But they actually work. They are something that I have lived by of all my life when I was a student and when I was living on my parents' money, and now when I earn my own, and it actually motivated me and helped me to save so much more than this. This is just pocket change. Kidding. So you guys, hi, hello, this is Ananya. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Upfront and Personal Podcast. And I think in India, we become upfront and personal about a lot of things, like gossip, like who has an affair with who and whose child has gotten how much marks. But one thing that we do not absolutely talk about is money. I think in India, in fact, we have taken it to this extent that talking about somebody's salary and money is rude. Now, I am not asking you to go ask for income tax returns of other people that you know, but at least we should be able to sit as adults and have a conversation about how to save money, how to treat money, and how to respect money. So, let's get upfront and personal about money today, and I will tell you all of the 4 money quotes that helped me excel my savings. Let's go. So, quote number 1. Just because it's in your bank account does not mean that you have to spend it. You guys, I am in this stage of my life where I've just started earning money. I'm 26, I'm not married, I don't have a house and a car of my own that I've bought on my own. So I have no loans going on. So basically I don't have any financial responsibility, which is so big. I just have to pay few bills here and there. And then all the other money can actually technically be my discretionary money. However, that is something that I would advise absolutely against. And that is something that I taught myself and I said to myself the first day I got my first paycheck. You guys, if you are also in a similar phase of your life, when you have a little higher sort of disposable income and not many financial responsibilities, then do not treat every single penny that's in your bank account as your discretionary money or your disposable income. Do not do that. I think just because we have it in a bank account or just because we can access that money does not mean that we also have to spend it on frivolous items. Do not only take care of the self that you are today, but also take care of the self that you are going to be. So invest in your future self and save. Don't treat your bank account as an endless river. It will reach its pit and it will hit its bottom if you spend carelessly. Also, I feel that I am a lawyer and I've been working in the same place for the past 2 years, and that's my first job that I got right out of law school. What if I want to make some changes in my career? I'm not saying that I am going to, but what if I want to? Then what do? I should have I should have a financial backing. That's not your parents, your own hard-earned money. Because if you have earned for a few years, I think it's completely logical and justifiable that you should be able to support yourself in case you try to take a break for your mental health or for trying something new in your career or because of any reason. And for that break, you need to be prepared. So shop less and don't abuse your bank account. Alright? Number 2, save first, spend after. Which can be translated and elucidated as don't save what you could not spend. Spend what you could not save. Let me paraphrase it and explain it in a little bit better manner. Just have your saving goals every single month. It could be 50%, it could be 20%, it could be 30%. It depends. I'll leave that calculation on you and I understand you'll be able to come to that conclusion and come to that calculation fairly easily. However, then stick to that amount. Except some emergency, except some bigger amounts or bigger expenses unexpectedly showing up, normally you should spend what is left after your savings. For example, if you earn say 50,000 rupees every single month and you have a goal to save 20,000 of that every single month, which is 40% of savings, which is a fairly good amount to save. Then your disposable income is 30,000, out of which you pay your bills and you do your shopping and you eat out, you do whatever you want to. But do not touch that 20,000. Just forget that you ever earned those 20,000. Invest it, save it. But don't think that, after shopping and after paying my bills and after eating out, whatever is left will be my savings. No. After your savings, whatever is left will be your spending. Write it down, my friend. Write it down. Number 3, you are allowed to have nice things if you decide to also treat them as nice things. You guys, I am not against buying nice things or expensive things. I understand that sometimes, especially in things like clothing, or sometimes cars, or sometimes if you want to buy a house or anything for your kitchen, I really think you should invest in these pieces. If you want to buy a microwave or a toaster or a fridge or anything like that, of course you should not go for the cheaper item. But if you are investing it in something expensive, if you are buying something, whether it's your need or your want, if you have worked hard for it, you have saved up for it, buy it. But treat it as it is expensive, as it is nice. I understand that once you get a promotion or you pay raise or something like that, you might lose sense of what is expensive in general objective terms and what is not. For example, if something, when you were a student, if something like a piece of clothing or like a dress was 2,000 rupees and you felt that it was really nice and it was really expensive and you could not afford when you were a student, now while after earning you feel like, oh, 2,000, that's a steal. And that is a change in perception that happens after you grow up the ladder and you start making more money. But still, you need to have an objective sense of what is expensive and what is not. And if it is, then you need to treat it like it is expensive. You need to take care of it. You need to be vigilant of it. And only then you can have a nice thing. So just tell yourself, this is not a rule that I can or anybody else can impose on you. Actually, all of these rules are all about self-discipline and self-development. Number 4, necessities always come before luxuries. Okay? That means that once your paycheck arrives, as I said, set out like some amount of money that you are going to save, and that are going to be your savings necessarily, barring some emergencies, barring some unforeseen situations. But other than that, after that you have set out that amount, then you will pay your bills first. You will make sure that if you have any kind of EMIs going on, that get paid. If you have to send your parents money, that get paid. And after that, whatever is left is your shopping budget. You go and you buy clothes, your bags, you eat out or whatnot. For example, a very good example is eating out and cooking at home. We all know, and with this kind of basic economics, we all are aware of, that eating out is obviously much more expensive than making home food. And I'm not saying never eat out, of course do. However, you need to make sure that first you should have money to buy groceries, to fill your kitchen, to make sure that you have enough to eat 90% of the times or 80% of the times at home. And then whatever money is left out, that you can use for eating out. Don't compromise buying groceries or buying like condiments for your kitchen just because you want a bigger eating out budget. Eating out is luxury and having food at home is a necessity. So always make sure that your necessity is before luxury. And it can actually, this rule actually applies to the sectors and fields and activities that you might not never have imagined that it applies. For example, if you're going for a new job and you go to a really fancy showroom, like for example, you go to H&M, okay? I'm at this point in my life where H&M is actually pretty fancy for me. So H&M for me. If it is Gucci for you, then Gucci it is for you. I'm just saying you go to any kind of hypothetical fancy store, alright, according to your pay scale. And you go over there and you find you need to buy clothes. You're there to buy clothes so that you can go to office. It's a very formal office. And as a lawyer myself, I understand that decorum and what clothes you wear in the office, they really matter, and in a lot of sectors it matters definitely more than others. So for example, you're working in a sector where this is important, what you put on your back. You go over there and you spot like a really nice shirts and trousers that you want to buy, and then there is a dress that's a party dress and your friend's birthday is next weekend, and you were anyways looking for a dress. Both are of the same amount, however, both denote your budget, your entire budget which you have entered that shop. What do you buy? Both are clothes, and both you will say, oh, nothing is necessity. But right now, that shirt and pant is your necessity because you need to go to a job looking prim and proper. That's your uniform. So you are going to prioritize it over the dress that that doesn't really matter. That's a fun thing that you want to buy just so that you look good on your friend's birthday. You can wear something else on the birthday. That's a luxury. That's a second priority. Your necessity needs to be a priority, and it needs to be a priority right now. Note that again. Number 5. This is for all my beautiful buddies who have credit cards. Credit cards are a magical thing, alright? And when we came out of like being a student and we started earning, I'm sure it must have hit you guys also. Credit card is a huge responsibility. If used right, it can reap innumerable benefits, but it's a huge responsibility. So treat it as a huge responsibility, not as a free card to all the free money. And while you are spending through your credit card, have this at the back of your mind. Do not pay any amount from your credit card that you do not have in your bank account. I think I should rephrase it. Do not pay any amount from your credit card that you do not have, that you do not own. If you can't afford a thing right now, just because you have a credit card does not mean you afford it all of a sudden. Credit card and debit card, the major difference between both of them is that debit card your amount will get debited from your banks instantly. However, in credit card, they are giving you a credit. And once the statement arrives, then you have to pay the money. But let's not lose the cognizance of the fact that no matter when, you will be the person who has to pay this money. So maybe right now you think it's just a swipe of the card. No, you are actually, that thing is becoming your liability. After you use a credit card and you buy anything, then it depends on you and your financial situation and how well that financial decision was for you to determine whether that thing was an asset for you or a liability. If you cannot pay for it, it is a liability. And if you can, then that's an asset for it, because you will pay for it, your credit score will increase, and you don't have to worry about the payment right now. And that's great. And I think credit card is actually really nice because you build your credit score, you build your points, and it also is very safe. Like when it comes to cyber security, it's definitely safer than debit cards. But please be vigilant of the fact that don't use your credit card as if it's like a chabi to a treasure or something. It's not free money. You will be the person who has to pay it. Sorry, I'm saying the same thing again, but I think it needs to be drilled in young minds. I have become 26, not 66. I'm still young, but whatever. Younger or something. I'm not old. That is an inflation that I am not ready for. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys really like talking about money here. No awkwardness here. We can talk about our money in a very frank manner. Okay, so let's start having money conversations a little bit, and let's start having the cognizance of how much we own, how much we spend, how much we save, and how much we owe. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you like this video, and I will see you guys in my next one.